Welcome to the Healthy Metal Hippie Podcast, where art and wellness collide. Well, hi and welcome back to the Healthy Metal Hippie. Today we are here with the band Silk Red. I am honestly delighted that you guys could be here today. Libby, I met you and your mom actually, and I met you at HMV and I fell in love with the jacket, with your branding, and I just knew we had to talk more. So thank you guys all for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having us. It was a pleasure to meet you, and yeah, I wore the jacket specially, so we've got the jacket on. But it's lovely to meet you. Thanks for having us on.
Okay, so tell me about this beautiful jacket.
Well, my mum is very, very talented, and she started painting loads of different Silk Red jackets. We've got quite a few, actually, which are for various performances or just general, just walk around town.
She does all the merch.
Yeah, she's quite on it. She's very creative, very artsy. Like, all these jackets she does are all hand painted. I'll show them around and show. The people that can see, we've got like everything is branded. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. But yeah, she all does it hand painted onto each jacket. Each one is different. Each one jacket is unique. So it's pretty. She's a very clever lady.
It's honestly, it's incredible. And I love that dedication to like put all that time and that energy and that love into the merchandise and into your branding, because it makes such a difference. And obviously it's a talking point to start with, right? Because I went, oh, I need it. And then I found out more. And so now it makes you curious and it makes you excited. Now I just want to go to all your shows. So
love it.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about the band. When did you guys start? Tell me everything.
Well, we started 2024.
Yeah, so July 2024 we started.
It originally started out as your sort of passion project where I joined in. We played Late Fest in August. And then from there...
like the Libertines and Ollie
Yeah, and from there it sort of just snowballed into a band, and we ended up making a few more singles and stuff like that, and we just prepared to write an album there, because it kind of just went from, it was your music originally, it was your sort of baby almost. And you basically came to us and was like, oh, can we make this a band, and we have our own logo and stuff and our own style, and then that's where we came up with like sort of the Silk Red. And I don't know if you've noticed, we're all kind of
there is all tinges of red.
I did notice.
So, we're very on brand.
Yeah, it was a bit crazy, wasn't it? Because we got called to play Lake Fest, and we had 6-week turnaround to play on the stage there, and that's like quite a big festival. We came to realise alongside quite major artists playing there, like Libertines and Ollie Murs, and we just had so much fun just doing it. So we were just kind of like, let's just do it.
It took us because for you it was 6 weeks, and then I got the call a month.
Yeah, it was like
before the show, and so
it was a 45-minute slot.
Yeah, a 45-minute slot, and I didn't know any of the songs. Most of the songs.
You did know. You knew all the songs eventually.
But for this show, it was more like I had to learn, and we writ and we embellished on songs that you had already. It was a very quick turnaround.
We've kind of molded a little bit as a band since then. So Josh and Torre have since joined the band. So it was August last year. So, and it's been a crazy ride. We've just been going straight to straight. Like Sam said, we've been recording our first album at the moment.
Yeah.
It's really impressive just straight off the bat, because just being called in to play festivals already without kind of this full established formation. A lot of people who are established don't get called to perform at festivals. So
it's a bit pinch me. I can't the whole time. You just can't. It's a bit mad.
But they're kind of the best things, and obviously you've got something that people have latched onto that's resonating with them in some way, right?
Yeah, I like to think so. Well, a lot of our sound is very much that 80s, 90s kind of rock, like the nostalgia rock that is just very impactful, very instrumentally led, but also have like your big intros, your big choruses. So I think for a lot of people, it's a bit like a nostalgia trip, which I feel like that kind of why a lot of people connect to it. And a lot of our songs are very motivational.
I think even with the recording as
yeah.
well, we're recording at the minute at Grosvenor Road Studios with Tony. We use a lot of old techniques, a lot of older sort of 70s microphones, and so that has that sort of warm quality about it. And just to go back into your sort of nostalgic feeling from it, I think that really resonates with a lot of people because it kind of sounds a bit older rather than newly mixed and engineered with this sort of really rich and highly compressed sonic quality. But it sort of takes you back to 80s, 90s, maybe even 70s sort of warmth.
Tone.
Do you know what I mean? That's like a really nice tone. I think that's what a lot of people see in our music.
I think it's also quite a fine line to dance on, if you will, because there is that, okay, if it sounds kind of older, does it sound dated or does it sound like copycat? And clearly you're not sounding dated or copycat, which is the really, really cool thing. But yeah, I mean, and there are some really cool bands coming out too that feel like it could have been written any time in the last 40 plus years, right? It's a little bit like, oh, the 70s were 50 years ago, but that's okay. So
They like that.
I know it's weird, right? When you think about it, because like I'm a bit older than you guys. I think I know I am, but I think about like I was saying this kind of to my son. I was going, okay, well, like the 90s now are like what the 70s were to us in the 90s.
Mad, isn't it?
But like actually, it's kind of even further away the 90s were to now. So it just kind of blows my mind a bit. When you think about it that way. I'm like,
it just flies too fast, doesn't it? Time is just flying by.
Right? Actually, I think this year was the first time I was like, damn, I'm starting to get old, but like just in number, not in spirit. So
that's the main thing.
Exactly. You mentioned that you have a deep love of Aerosmith as one of your big influences, and I am a massive Aerosmith fan. Yes. And that was a bonding moment indeed. Like you say, when you're talking about like big choruses, big guitar, and even, think about their albums, even like some of their later, like their 90s albums and stuff. It is quite motivational. It's quite inspiring. And so I can see that's kind of knowing that you have the Aerosmith love and then talking about your music that way. That's kind of where my head goes, that I can feel that influence coming through. And people need that, right? And I think there's like a lot of, God, this might sound rude, but there's a lot of really bullshit motivational shit out there. And there's stuff that's like, yeah. And then there's like the real stuff that actually feels good and it's grounded in truth and actual motivation and inspiration. And I love that. And it makes me happy that you guys tap into that.
Yeah. People need rock and roll.
Yeah. That's one to say.
That's one way to say it.
Yeah.
People need some rock and roll in their lives. Cause
They do.
Even with metal and stuff like that, where it was seen back in the day as, dare I say, satanic by a lot of people. There was like the satanic panic back in America for like the early days of metal, and there was like parents telling their kids, "Oh, you can't listen to this because it's the devil's work" and stuff like that. When really,
sign me up.
You know what I mean? It was literally just like teenagers expressing their feelings through music.
I mean, I record some solo episodes and things like that too. And I was just talking about this, how much of that early metal was all anti-war movement. It was all about peace and love and taking it on the shadow side and plugging it into love. It's all the same messages, but it's said different ways.
Different names for it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the part that people miss, right? Just because something looks a bit different or it sounds a bit heavier or whatever the case may be, you'll find your way to slot into the same kind of messages in the way that feels authentic for you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's why music is so good, because it does reach to so many different people. It is in so many different forms. It's not just like this is the one kind of form of music that people can listen to. There are so many different genres still depicting the same kind of messaging, which is why music is great.
Sounds cliche, but it's the universal language, isn't it? It transcends language, and so wherever you're from, whatever background you're from, music will always sort of help you in some way or another.
Yeah, it absolutely will. And you can listen. It doesn't matter if you don't understand the lyrics or things like that. You can feel that emotion of what the song is about and, pull it through. You don't need to understand the actual lyrics, right? It is something amazing.
There are so many songs that I listen to that are like in a different language, like in Italian. And I don't know any Italian but I love the song, even though I have no idea what they're saying. And it's just like things like that. It's just what's great. Yeah, great about it.
So, do you want to tell me a bit, like all of you, about your musical journeys? Like, how did you get started, and how'd you end up here?
I'm the guitarist, and metal, rock is sort of my forte. It's what I grew up on, and with this band, it just kind of reaffirmed that, and it's helped me out being this sort of multifaceted sort of guitarist as the years have gone by. Because I mean, we all we went to the same university. That's where we are right now.
Yeah.
As I've progressed on, I sort of learned to do bits of stuff, and then you kind of go into jazz and things like that. But for me, definitely, I've always been a rock guitarist or a metal guitarist.
And what were some of your biggest influences?
They change. They change a lot.
Like, I think of myself, I have early memories of being given Black Sabbath tapes, and like The Who's Tommy is one of my favorite albums in history, and nothing will ever change that. The Beatles, I'm sorry, they go above Aerosmith, they go above everybody. They are in their own category, and nothing will ever change that for me. And so I'm always curious, like, what are those things that are the staples forever?
You mentioned Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath for me was one of the first. I should imagine it's the first for most heavy metal guitarists or most rock guitarists. Just hearing Tony Iommi's massive riffs, and he was making those back in the 70s. That's insane.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I'm big on grunge. Soundgarden, Incubus was a big one for me. U2, as of more recently, just because it has that sort of sonic quality about it. It's really wide and lots of delay. Tool is a massive one for me. That I discovered Tool when I was about 13, and it was that I think Tool was the first band that truly got me into music as a whole, rather than just metal or just rock. Tool were kind of the first for me to be like, oh, music can sound a bit weird sometimes and still groove.
And I love how, starting young, and it's just kind of grown and expanded in all kinds of different ways as you've gotten older. I think it's something really impressive. And I mean, no matter how skilled you are, there's always somewhere you can go with music and with guitar and everything else. I was thinking, like, what was it? Like Jeff Beck. He played 12 hours, 14 hours a day. And you're like, that's Jeff Beck. Why did he have to practice so much?
Yeah.
But because he always still thought that there was something to improve. I think it's really cool.
I believe in there's no such thing as mastery. There's always something to learn. Even if you've learned everything about your instrument or singing, for example, just literally, there's always something to learn.
All right, so hello, I'm Tori. I'm the drummer of the group, and my musical upbringing started off nowhere near close to what I do now with Silkred. It didn't start off with rock or metal. It started R&B, funk, soul, reggae type stuff. So think my main inspirations were people like Alicia Keys, Mary J. Blige, Taurus Riley, Beres Hammond, Toots and the Maytals, Erykah Badu. That was my musical upbringing, and that was basically what I was surrounded by pretty much from the moment I was able to walk and talk, basically. then I got older, and then obviously things started to differentiate a little more. And then because I'm a gamer, I obviously got into a lot of game music then. And it's like I found out that there was some similarities between like gaming music and the music that I listen to. And then time fast forwards again, I come to uni, meet these guys, and then that's when I come across like people like Snarky Puppy with their fusion stuff, Animals as Leaders, and even Sleep Token. And then from that point on, it was kind of almost inevitable at some point that I was probably going to end up in a rock band at some point, and it just so happened to be these lot. So yeah, that's basically my musical upbringing, pretty much all right there.
Incredible artists, for one. And did you start playing drums at a young age, or did that?
No, actually, funnily enough, I guess I'm not the first person to do this, and I won't be the last either. But I picked up drums fairly recently, about 4 years ago.
It makes me question, like, how have you managed to learn and be that good in that little time?
That dedication in 4 years.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
He's ridiculous.
it's true. Dedication, for sure.
Yeah, to put it very simply, I was very hungry in a sense, and because this was something that I wanted to do after coming to the realization, after working in like factories and garages for like the early part of my working life, I came to the realization that this wasn't fun for me, and I really missed music, which is why like I decided to just essentially take a leap of faith on going to uni, do the time, put in the work, get as good as I can, as fast as I can in an environment where I can afford to mess up. And here I am now, basically.
And it is true that no matter what it is, you get out of it what you put into it, right? And when you are hungry for it and you push, then there's kind of no stopping you, right?
Cool. I guess I'll take the reins. Yeah, I'm Josh from the bassist of the band. I feel a lot of my upbringing through music really was quite emotionally driven through a lot of kind of memories. I don't know if many people kind of relate to it, but especially kind of like, you know, your Sundays when your family's up doing like housework with the speakers blasting and stuff, and kind of just with loads of different influences. Kind of, my mum was quite alternative. My dad had quite a big like background in like reggae and stuff like that. So I've just had this incredible fusion for a couple of years of just listening to like so many key artists across the board with both of them genres, kind of leading into like my early time of like starting to play. I ended up starting out on bass, picked it up. Some people say like quite relatively late compared to some people, especially I play alongside, but the back end of like secondary school, kind of like 15.
Right. Yeah.
Really kind of found my home within instruments and music, which was great, really. I found an escape from a lot of previous life things and stuff, but it really gave me something to put my energy into. Kind of had a period over like my college study and early uni where I was a drummer. Took a lot of inspiration, obviously, from artists and people like, you know, you kind of got people like Dave Grohl and Nate Smith and kind of all of these artists and all of these drummers that are great. And then kind of fast forward a little bit of time, drop into uni, still doing a little bit of drums, and just kind of have this realization, the thing I started out on, this instrument I have so much kind of emotional weight behind, I just wanted to return to. And funnily enough, I found that return as coming into this band, and really have just enjoyed my time back on here. So like, I guess if you want to call it quote unquote like professional bass playing, I think I'm up on like, what is it, a year now? Year and a half maybe. So I'm quite relatively new to this stuff, but enjoying it nonetheless.
And again, another person who may not be playing their instrument for that long, but is damn good at it.
But that's it. It's not about length of time that you've played anything either, right? Like I was interviewing somebody yesterday, and she was classically trained on 4 instruments starting at 4 years old. But not everybody is like that. I mean, it's not uncommon to pick it up even first time in your 20s and then go on to do incredible things, or just go on to enjoy the fuck out of it. And either way is totally valid and totally fine. It's, I love it though. Obviously, all of you have like found the place that feels right for you.
Exactly. Sure. Okay, so I'm Libby. I am the lead singer, the keys player. Yeah, write up the lyrics and stuff for the band.
Yeah, basically the main songwriter.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been singing for, as cheesy as it sounds, my whole life. Like, there's videos that my mum took of me when I hadn't spoken, and I would start like humming or singing little melodies, even if I didn't know the words. But yeah, so I kind of did that. I started because I loved singing and I loved performing. My family got to visit endless living room shows that I'd always put on for them at a very young age. I kind of then went into a little bit of musical theatre as to kind of, my parents thought, oh, pursue that dream. But I'm not a very good dancer, so I didn't very far. So I kind of took a step away from that a little bit and just kind of mainly focused on the singing and kind of carried on doing that, taking lessons. And then I started piano when I was 8 years old. I started having training at school, and I really struggle with like music theory and reading like sheet music. I'm quite dyslexic, so when I'm looking at like sheet music, everything kind of jumps around the page. So I really struggled to read it. So they would set me homework in my piano lessons to do music theory, and I didn't understand it, so I would do the work. And then I'd get in a lot of trouble for not doing it, which then obviously didn't make that very fun. So I ended up quitting that, and then I taught myself piano by ear, and then later by chords, and of how I kind of progress and keep working at that on my own merit, really. And then I didn't start songwriting until I was about 14, I think, really properly, when I started writing when I was 14. Because before that, I kind of stopped. There was a period of time where I kind of stopped enjoying music, and I stopped singing, and because I didn't really have much confidence. I lacked a lot of confidence for quite some time and never thought I was kind of very good at anything. So I kind of stopped singing for a little bit, for I think over a year. But then I think, like Josh said, you kind of get like a calling to come back to your, sounds really cheesy, but like, you know what I mean? Like back to your original instrument, your original craft. And I just missed music. Like Tori said as well, like I just missed music, and it was just, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I kind of kept plugging at it. And then I came to college for music to do vocals performance, college in Birmingham called ACM. And they helped me massively with my confidence. And it wasn't easy, but it enabled me, if I hadn't have gone there, that I wouldn't be able to be where I am, I don't think, today. It allowed me to kind of gig a lot more, both solo and obviously with Silk Red. And it gave me confidence to feel like I can actually also front a band. Because like before Silk Red, I wasn't in a band. I'd never been in a band. Yeah, I mostly focused on solo work, and I got badgered by my tutors at college and then at uni. Like, get in a band, Amy, get in a band, do it. And then I was just waiting, I suppose, and I did it, and best decision I ever made, really. Because it's always a laugh with these guys. It's always good. It's just so much fun. And to be able to do what you love with your mates is just, it's what you want to do. It's like the main goal in life, isn't it? So
I love that you've been able to like overcome the confidence issues that you had. I think a lot of people face it in one way or another, and it takes a lot of balls to be able to put yourself out there and be like, I want better than this. I want to feel better. I want to be able to do more. And he did it.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy feat to kind of overcome, but it's just totally worth it. And to be fair, like I couldn't have done any of what I do now with my family, because they are the most supportive family I know. So they helped.
It comes with the nature of being a performing artist or a performing musician. Is you kind of, you get that self-doubt quite a bit with your own sort of abilities. It's not necessarily other people putting you down. It's more like your biggest critic is yourself.
Yeah.
And I think being in an environment like this, we're always bigging each other up, and we're always trying to, get each other to play best we can, and with as much style and with as much pizzazz as possible, for lack of a better. Just because we want to have fun with music. We want it to mean something. In my experience, there's a lot of people that get bogged down with the business side of being in a band. And that then reaffirms that self-doubt a lot more, and you kind of get bogged down. And it's not good at all for your mental health. And I think what we try and do is we just have fun with it. And I think that's what everyone should do in a band, is play music with people that you actually like. You often find yourself, if you do like function stuff or anything like that, you can get into a room with a lot of great musicians, but not people that hang out with or go for a drink with afterwards. I think marriage of the both is what we try and strive for.
There's a lot of people that don't have that joy with their band. And if you can keep that alive, then it's always bound to be good. I think you're right in talking about your inner voice being your worst critic, right? And self-doubt, imposter syndrome, all that stuff, it creeps in. And when you have that support system, like you say, your family or the bandmates and everything, it makes it so much easier to just smooth those bumps in the road over and just keep moving forward, because it can be crippling if you don't have that support system.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is, music can be very, especially when you are either on your own or you're exposing, especially if you're performing your own stuff. But in general, it's very exposing if you're performing. And a lot of the time you tend to be very hypervigilant about everyone in the room. Even now, when you're performing stages or touring the world, you want to make sure that if you're performing, the people that are listening are enjoying it. So it's very exposing. So you're always having to look out for people's emotions, people's reactions, if they're talking, not talking, if they leave and not leave. Obviously, you can't always manage people's like opinions or reactions or whatever. But it's those kind of things. For something that's very exposing anyway, you have to pay attention a lot, and it's very easy then to be like, oh my god, that person is yawning, they must be bored. And then if you haven't got the right mentality about it, then you go, oh my god, you can really deep dive into that a little bit. Oh my god, what have I done? And it's kind of learning to build a little bit of that wall, a little bit of that barrier, and realizing maybe they're just yawn because.
I think there's like 2 or 3 ways to go about it when you're prepping yourself to go and perform. Is you can kind of be humble about it, which still does work, but you kind of have that lingering thing. People like this band, do people like the music that we're playing? Are people just saying nice things because that's what we want to hear? You know what I mean? It's really easy to get lost in that headspace. So what I do, and admittedly, it's probably not the best thing, just to big yourself up massively, is to have a bit of an ego before you go on stage, specifically for a performance. It's because if you have that right sort of mentality, don't be a dick about it.
That's what people are looking for when you go on stage. They want that rock star ego. They want that.
Do you know what I mean? It does work. You can kind of break yourself into it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Don't be a dick. But you can be the look at me, and that is how you should be entering the stage.
Extravagant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's not overinflated lameness. But it is that I'm here to perform. It is that presence. And I think, especially if you think, okay, you're on the stage and then you have all the people, even though you're kind of the little things there, even though you have to be the big thing. And that's why you have to show up bigger than you might feel inside.
Exactly. You're there to put on a show. So you've got to be that entertainment. Be that bigger version of yourself.
You are the act. That in itself has just, a lot of pressure anyway. But I think if you take into consideration, if you kind of put yourself in the shoes of the audience, I suppose.
Yeah.
You have to be like, well, what
would you want?
What would you want to hear? What would you want the band on stage to do? And sort of channel that into your own performance. And 9 times out of 10 it works.
Yeah.
1 time out of 10 is when it's like the day itself is already just kind of going, and
Yeah.
that might.
I'm sure it's not that bad, really, though. So even when you think it's not great, I'm sure it's not that bad. So you said you have a new album, your debut album that you're recording right now. Do you want to tell a bit about that?
Oh, it's so exciting. So we're currently recording it at the moment, and it's a very grand album. I think like the songs instrumentally are going to be very loud and very grand. We're working with a composer as well who's adding like obviously we're prominently a rock band, but we've got some string ornamentations in there. It's just, think motivational, think powerful, cinematic and relatable. It's like everything. Yeah, we've cherry picked like a lot of where all of our musical influences lie. We've kind of gone, right, a lot of our favourite songs have massive intros. A lot of our favourite songs have really cool instrumental solos in them. A lot of our favourite songs are catchy lyrically or motivationally lyrically. And so we've just kind of gone, well, let's just put that all in a bowl and mix it together. And then we've got about 10 to 12 tracks that we're recording at the moment, just depicting all of those great things so people can listen to it and go, oh yeah, I remember that's how I feel about this part of my life. Or they turn it on and they're like, oh, that riff that's a nice riff or something like that. It just instantly grows. I think it's important as well in especially current society where, and I am one for it, my attention span is not great. But it's like, you know, you have to kind of put people in pretty kind of soon.
Yeah.
Whether that is lyrics or that is with instrumentals. So yeah, it's a fun album. We're very lucky. We mentioned it, Sam mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
We're recording at Grosvenor Road Studios up in Birmingham. We've got an incredible engineer, a guy called Tony. His experience, Tony Biggs. He's a literal wizard. He is unbelievable. He was formerly like an MC and like traveled all over the world, toured all over the world, with some of the biggest names. And so he's got that industry knowledge and that experience. And he's just a wizard when it comes to like recording and mixing and mastering and stuff. So so we're recording at Grosvenor with him, and Grosvenor is just like ridiculous. It's
it's a playground for you.
Yeah, it's been going since like the 70s, I think, 60s, 70s, and it's had like crazy people recorded there, like Cliff Richard, UB40, Ozzy Osbourne, you name it, pretty insane roster, you know. They've just actually fitted a new like Neve desk and a Dolby Atmos suite as well, which we are very, very fortunate to have a little bit of privy to when it comes to recording our album. So we're going to be having a little bit of a mixture with them. So that's just
some absolute, just massive sounds.
Yeah, massive.
Are there any singles coming out, or do you have an estimated kind of release date for the album?
So we'll be dropping probably a few singles beforehand to tease a little bit of the album, which we want to get like a lot of our releases probably out. Well, a few of them, start dropping them kind of over the next kind of couple of months. So we just want to make sure we're at this point where we're just making sure that it's to a step like we're really happy with it. Obviously, nothing can ever be. If you over perfect it, then it'll never get released type thing. But we're
true, and I think it'll lose some of its charm too. But
yeah, exactly. So we're getting to a point now. We're kind of getting really proud of it, and hopefully we'll start releasing one or two of the singles next coming months. Really, by summertime.
We're in post production now. All recording is pretty much finished.
And then on top of that, you have a few shows coming up too, right?
Yeah, we do.
Thanks to like a little bit of success that we had in last year, we went to this place called the Mail Coach. Thanks to Libby, because obviously she's situated in Northampton, and that's kind of like her base of operations. So she's essentially been like the one that just gets the gigs,
social butterfly.
Calls people, talks to people. Got us a gig over at the Mail Coach. We went there on December 12th, and the reception was really good to the point where they want us back again. And then we have another gig date back at the same place again around June, and another one in July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're also playing Metal to the Masses in Birmingham on the 28th of February, which is really exciting. So we're really looking forward to that one because it's just I've been to Metal to the Masses, so it's quite exciting now to be in it as well. So we're going to give that a lot, and we've got a few festivals as well coming up over the summer periods, which we'll start promoting obviously once things come out. But so got a lot on the cards and a lot to kind of definitely keep an eye on as well as the album obviously. So
if people want to come and connect with you and follow along, where's the best place for them to check you out?
Yeah, we're on all social medias. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We are on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So we can basically cover most platforms.
Out the website in the works. Or...
Oh yeah, we've got a website also in the works at the moment, so that'll be up and
Ooh.
running hopefully very soon. But it's kind of our handle is Silk Red Band, kind of everywhere really. So
Will the website be the same too?
hopefully, it should be. Yeah.
I'm so happy you're building a website because it's really an important thing for bands to do.
Story. There's a story behind that frustration.
Yeah. Oh, do I have a story? Yeah. You know what? So part of what I do, other than podcasting and other than producing other people's podcasts, is I do social media, but I also help bands build strategy for growth, and I do some booking and all sorts of stuff, right? But one of the things is like I've worked with bands that have been like, we don't think it makes sense to have a website. And the best thing, and this is what I advise to everybody, mailing list is your key forever. And people don't believe this and people don't think it's real, but that is your surefire way to connect with people. And it really does not cost that much. People are like, oh, what an investment. I'm like, it's a couple $100 for the website and a personalized email address for a year.
I don't know if you know Troy Titley from Nuns of the Tundra. He's been talking to me and a band member of another project that I'm a part of about the mailing list, and he's been stressing like how important it is for bands to actually have mailing list and want to set up properly. Just to reach the message.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people heavily rely on social media and their followings via that. If that goes down, how are you going to contact those people?
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I think you have to look at it like super holistically, right? How do we build like in person? How do we build online? How do we build our social media presence and everything? It's not just one thing anymore, right? Where, so many people are like, I have some followers on Facebook. It's good enough. And I'm like, okay. No. It's just smart. And, even though the focus, of course, is always on music, but having that good business sense to go with it, that's the key to forward success. So I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for being here today on the Healthy Metal Hippie. I'm really thrilled that we could all connect, and I can't wait to listen to your album and come see you out on the road somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure to meet and talk with you.
Yeah.
So, it's been good.
Thanks so much for joining us on the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast. For more ways to connect, go to www.healthymetalhippie.com.